James Morrison was worth $6 billion. His pharmaceutical company had saved thousands of lives. But on a Saturday morning in June, a 10-year-old girl selling lemonade for $1 would teach him that he had also killed thousands more, and one of them was her best friend. Before we dive into this story, welcome to our channel. If you're watching from anywhere in the world, drop a comment below and tell us where you're from. We love connecting with viewers globally. And if emotional, true stories that challenge how we see the world resonate with you, hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications. You won't want to miss what happens next. Now let's get into this life-changing encounter. James stared at the empty side of his bed. 14 months since Sarah died. 14 months of waking up alone. 3 months, the doctors said, until his 8-year-old son Ethan would join her. "Daddy?" Ethan stood in the doorway wearing superhero pajamas that hung loose on his shrinking body. "Can we do something normal today? I'm tired of hospitals. I'm tired of people looking at me like I'm already dead." James's throat closed. His son was disappearing in front of him, and there was nothing his billions could do about it. "What do you want to do, buddy?" "Go to the park, feed ducks, be a regular kid. Just for today, can we pretend?" "Yeah," James whispered, pulling Ethan close, careful of the port in his chest. "We can pretend." 2 hours later, Riverside Park. Ethan laughed at fighting ducks. He ran toward the playground, slow but joyful. For seconds at a time, James forgot his son was dying. Then Ethan saw it. A card table under an oak tree, yellow tablecloth, hand-painted signs. The biggest one, lemonade $1, all proceeds go to kids fighting cancer who can't afford medicine. Butterfly drawings everywhere, bright, colorful, cheerful. And a jar labeled Isabella's Dream Fund. Behind the table sat a girl, maybe 10, with braided dark hair and a smile too big for someone running a cancer charity, purple butterfly shirt, brown eyes that had seen too much. "Lemonade! Fresh squeezed!" she called. When she saw Ethan, something in her face shifted. Recognition, understanding. Ethan pulled out his $5 bill. "Can I have one?" "Sure." She poured carefully, precisely. Then she saw it. The edge of Ethan's port showing at his collar. Her whole expression softened. "You're a warrior too, aren't you?" Ethan froze. "How did you know?" She pointed gently. "Your port? My best friend Isabella had one exactly like that. She taught me what they mean." James moved closer. Something in his chest was tightening. "She taught me a lot of things," the girl continued, voice quieter now, "before she went to heaven." "Your friend had cancer?" Ethan asked. "Leukemia. The doctors said there was new medicine that could save her, but it cost $400,000. James stopped breathing. "My mom tried everything, called the company, filled out forms, begged them. They said no, said we didn't qualify because of reasons I didn't understand. Isabella got sicker, and then one day, she didn't wake up. $400,000, pediatric leukemia, denied treatment." James knew this story. He knew it because Morrison Pharmaceuticals made that drug. He had defended that price. Development costs justify premium pricing. His words, his voice, his decision. The girl kept talking. "Isabella made me promise something before she got too sick. She said if she didn't win, I had to help other kids win. So every Saturday I'm here. The money helps families pay for gas to treatments or food, or sometimes just a toy." She reached under the table, pulled out a small bracelet, purple and yellow beads spelling hope. "I make these for all the warriors. Isabella taught me how before she died. She said hope matters more than medicine sometimes." She handed it to Ethan. "And warriors don't pay. This is free." Ethan's hands shook, taking it. "I'm scared I won't win either." The girl walked around the table, took his hand. Then you fight anyway. That's what warriors do. You're not alone. You've got your dad. You've got me now. And Isabella's watching from heaven. We're all fighting with you. James watched his dying son being comforted by this child who'd already lost her best friend, and something inside him shattered. "What's your name?" James heard himself ask. The girl looked up. Maya Patterson." "I'm James Morrison." Her face didn't change. She didn't know who he was, didn't know his company manufactured the drug that could have saved Isabella, didn't know she was talking to the man responsible for her best friend's death. "And I'm Ethan," his son said quietly. "Nice to meet you both." Maya smiled at Ethan. "You gonna drink that lemonade, warrior? I promise it's good." Ethan took a sip. "It's really good. My mum helped me make it this morning. She works at the hospital, translating for families who don't speak English. She knew Isabella's family. That's how we became friends." "How much have you raised?" James asked, his voice strange in his own ears. Maya looked at her jar. $143 so far this summer. I know it's not enough for medicine, but every little bit helps somebody, right? $143. This child had raised $143 while James had made $400 million in profit from cancer drugs this quarter alone. "Right," he managed. Maya turned back to Ethan. "Do you like butterflies?" Isabella loved them. She said they meant transformation, like caterpillars becoming something beautiful. She said that's what happens when we die. We transform into something more beautiful. Ethan touched the bracelet on his wrist. "I like that." "Me too. That's why I draw them. To remember." Maya pointed at her signs. "See, I drew 47 butterflies, one for every week since Isabella left." James counted them. She was right. 47 carefully drawn butterflies. 47 weeks since a little girl named Isabella died because his company said $400,000 was more important than her life. "Maya," a woman's voice called from across the park. "Time to pack up, Mija. I have to get to my second shift." "That's my mum," Maya said. "I have to go. But Ethan, you keep fighting, okay? Promise me." "I promise." "Good." She hugged him quickly. Warriors keep promises. As Maya started packing her lemonade stand, James stood frozen, watching her fold up her butterfly signs, watching her count her $143, watching her carefully pack the jar labeled Isabella's Dream Fund. And he knew with absolute certainty that nothing would ever be the same. That night, James couldn't sleep. He sat in his home office, the city lights of Manhattan sprawling below his penthouse windows, and typed Isabella's name into his company's patient database. Isabella Marie Rodriguez, age 9, deceased. The file loaded. James read every word, and with each line, the weight in his chest grew heavier. Application for Compassionate Use Program submitted by Linda Patterson on behalf of Carmen Rodriguez. Patient diagnosis, acute lymphoblastic leukemia, high risk. Recommended treatment, Morrison Pharmaceuticals experimental drug MT-7749. Estimated cost, $400,000. Insurance status, uninsured. Family income, below poverty line. Special circumstances, patient's mother is undocumented, father unknown. Application reviewed by Richard Sterling, Chief Financial Officer. Decision denied. Reason, liability concerns regarding immigration status, potential legal complications, insufficient documentation of financial hardship meeting program. Criteria. Date of decision, November 14th. Date of Isabella's death, November 25th. 11 days. Isabella had died 11 days after Richard denied her treatment. James scrolled further, found an email chain he'd never seen, from Sarah Morrison to Richard Sterling. Subject, Rodriguez case, urgent. Richard, I'm overriding your decision on the Isabella Rodriguez case. This is exactly why I established the Compassionate Use Program. A child's immigration status is irrelevant to whether she deserves life-saving treatment. Please process the approval immediately. Sarah. Richard's response. Sarah, with all respect, James put me in charge of these decisions for a reason. We have protocols. The liability exposure alone could cost millions in legal fees if this sets a precedent. I'm not budging on this. Sarah's reply, time stamped 8:15 p.m. Then I'm going over your head. I'm driving to the office right now to access James's override codes myself. That little girl is not dying because you're worried about lawsuits. This isn't about money, Richard. It's about doing what's right. James stared at the timestamp. November 14th, 8:15 p.m. He opened another file. The police report from Sarah's accident. Time of incident, 9:07 p.m. Location, intersection of 5th Avenue and East 42nd Street, 3 blocks from Morrison Pharmaceutical's headquarters. Victim, Sarah Morrison, age 39. Cause, collision with delivery truck, running red light. Vehicle status, total loss. Victim status, DOA. Sarah had been driving to the office to save Isabella, and she died trying. James's hands shook as he opened his email archives, searched for messages from Sarah on November 14th. One unread email, sent at 7:43 p.m. James, I know you're in Tokyo closing the merger, but I need you to see the Rodriguez case file. There's a 9-year-old girl who's going to die because Richard denied her treatment over paperwork. Paperwork. You have the power to override his decision. Please, I'm begging you, don't let profit margins become death sentences. This is why I fell in love with you, because you wanted to save lives. Remember that man. Be that man again. I miss him. I miss US. Call me when you land. I love you. Sarah. James had been in a meeting when she sent it. A meeting about projected earnings. He'd silenced his phone, ignored her message, closed a $3 billion deal while his wife died trying to save a child he could have saved with one signature. He pulled up his call log from that night. Sarah had called him 4 times between 7:45 and 8:30. He'd sent every call to voicemail. James opened the voicemails he'd never listened to. James, it's me. I need you to call Richard and override the Rodriguez denial. It's urgent. A little girl's life is at stake. Call me back. James, please. I know the merger is important, but this is important too. Call me. Damn it, James. Pick up your phone. I'm going to the office myself. I'm not letting this child die. Call me when you get this. The 4th voicemail was different, shorter, sadder. I'm disappointed in you, in us, in what we've become. I'm fixing this myself. I hope when you finally listen to these messages, you'll understand why I had to. That was the last thing his wife ever said to him. James sat in the dark, tears streaming down his face, and understood with brutal clarity. Sarah had died trying to save Isabella. Isabella had died anyway, and both deaths were his fault. His phone rang. Dr. Chen. James, I'm sorry to call so late. It's about Ethan. His latest blood work shows the cancer is progressing faster than we anticipated. We need to adjust his treatment schedule. Can you bring him in Monday morning? How much time does he have? James asked, his voice hollow. Silence. Then, 8 weeks, maybe 10. I'm so sorry. After she hung up, James sat motionless. His son was dying. His wife was dead. And a 10-year-old girl named Maya was selling lemonade to save children from the very system he'd built. He pulled up Maya's social media, found Linda Patterson's profile through the tagged photos, saw pictures of Maya and Isabella together, birthday parties, Halloween costumes, school plays, 2 little girls with their whole lives ahead of them. Then the photos changed. Hospital beds, bald heads, brave smiles that didn't reach their eyes, Isabella getting thinner, paler, weaker in each picture. The last photo was dated November 26th. Maya kneeling beside a small grave with a butterfly headstone. The caption read, "I promise I'll keep fighting for other kids, Isa. I promise I won't let anyone forget you. I love you forever." 417 comments, mostly from other parents of sick children. "I'm so sorry for your loss. She's with the angels now. No child should die because of money." And one comment from Linda Patterson. "My daughter lost her best friend because a pharmaceutical company valued profit over life. Isabella deserved better. Every child deserves better. I will never stop fighting for change." 47 weeks ago, James had spent 47 weeks building his empire bigger, while Maya spent 47 weeks selling lemonade and making hope bracelets and trying to save children from the machine he controlled. He opened his contact list, found Richard Sterling's number. "James, it's almost midnight. What's wrong?" "The Rodriguez case, November. You denied a 9-year-old girl treatment." Silence. Then carefully, "I made a fiscally responsible decision based on liability concerns. We discussed this." "We never discussed it. Sarah tried to override you. She died on her way to the office to save that child." "That's not fair, James. Sarah's accident was tragic, but it had nothing to do with—" "Isabella Rodriguez died 11 days after you denied her treatment. My wife died trying to save her, and I was too busy making money to answer my phone. So tell me, Richard, was it worth it? Was protecting our liability worth 2 lives? You're being emotional. This is exactly why I handle these decisions. You can't run a company on feelings." "You're fired." "What?" "Clean out your office Monday. You're done." "You can't fire me. I own 30% of this company. I'll sue you for breach of contract." "Try it. I'll bury you in court and I'll make sure everyone knows why. The man who let a child die over paperwork. See how that plays in the media." James hung up, pulled up his company's legal department contact, left a voicemail for his chief counsel. "It's James. I need you to draft paperwork for a complete restructuring of our compassionate use program. Effective immediately, no child will be denied treatment based on ability to pay or immigration status. I don't care about the cost. Find a way to make it work legally. I want it done by Monday." Then he did something he hadn't done since Sarah's funeral. He prayed. Saturday morning, James returned to the park. Ethan was still sleeping, exhausted from treatment. James went alone. Maya was already setting up her lemonade stand, her mother helping arrange the cups and napkins. When Linda saw James approaching, her body went rigid. "Mr. Morrison." Her voice was cold, professional. The voice of someone who'd learned to hide pain behind politeness. "Mrs. Patterson, Maya." James stopped a few feet away, hands in his pockets. "I need to talk to you both, please." "We're busy," Linda said, not looking at him. "Mom," Maya said softly, touching her mother's arm. "Let him talk." Linda's jaw tightened, but she nodded. James pulled out his phone, hands shaking slightly. "I went home yesterday, and I couldn't stop thinking about Isabella. So I looked up her case file in our system." Linda's eyes filled with tears instantly. Don't say her name like you knew her." "You're right. I didn't know her, but I should have saved her anyway." James's voice cracked. "My business partner, Richard, denied her treatment, and my wife, Sarah, she tried to override that decision. She was driving to our office to approve Isabella's treatment herself when she was killed in a car accident." Maya's hand flew to her mouth. Linda went pale. "Sarah sent me an email that night begging me to help Isabella. She called me 4 times. I was in Tokyo closing a business deal, and I ignored every call. I was too important. too busy making money to save a 9-year-old girl's life. Tears streamed down James's face. Isabella died 11 days after we denied her. My wife died trying to save her. And I've spent the last 14 months feeling sorry for myself when I should have been feeling ashamed. "Why are you telling us this?" Linda whispered. "Because Maya asked me yesterday if I could change, and I didn't know if I could. But last night I fired Richard. I restructured our entire compassionate use program, and this morning I came here to ask if you'll help me make sure no other child dies the way Isabella did." "Help you?" Linda's voice rose. "You want us to help you feel better about killing my daughter's best friend?" "No, I want you to make sure I never forget what it cost. I want Maya to tell me the truth when I'm wrong. I want you to be the voice for every family I've failed." James pulled an envelope from his jacket. "This is a contract offering you a position as Director of Patient Advocacy at Morrison Pharmaceuticals. $200,000 a year. Your job is finding families like yours and making sure they get treatment. No bureaucracy, no denials, just help." Linda stared at the envelope like it might explode. "This is guilt money." "Yes," James said simply. "It is. But it's also a job that needs doing. And you're the only person I trust to do it right. Because you'll never let me forget what happens when we fail." Maya looked up at her mother. "Mum, you could help so many families. Families like Isabella's. Isn't that what Isa would want?" Linda's face crumpled. She pulled Maya close, burying her face in her daughter's hair. James set the envelope on the lemonade stand table. "You don't have to decide now, but please think about it. And Maya, there's something else." He pulled out a second, smaller envelope, handed it to Maya. She opened it carefully. Inside was a check for $1 million made out to Isabella's dream fund. Maya's eyes went huge. This has too many zeros." "No, it doesn't. I did the math. That's enough to fully fund treatment for 12 children. 12 Isabellas who get to live because you're brave enough to sell lemonade and remind people like me what actually matters." "I can't accept this," Maya said, trying to hand it back. "It's not for you. It's for Isabella. It's my apology to her for being too late." James knelt down to Maya's level. "You asked me if I could change. I'm trying, but I can't do it without help. Without someone who'll tell me when I'm wrong. Will you help me?" Maya looked at the check, then at her mother, then at James. "If I help you, you have to promise something. Anything. You have to visit Isabella's grave with me, and you have to tell her you're sorry. Not me, her." James's throat closed. He nodded, unable to speak. "And you have to come to the hospital with me and meet the kids who are waiting for medicine. You have to see their faces, remember their names, so you never forget they're real people, not just files in a computer." "I promise. And when your son gets better, because he will get better, you can't forget about the other kids, the ones whose dads aren't billionaires. Promise me." "Maya," Linda said softly. "Baby, Ethan might not." "He will," Maya said, with absolute certainty. "Warriors don't give up. Right, Mr. Morrison?" James wiped his eyes. "Right. If you're feeling the weight of this transformation, take a moment to like this video and share it with someone who needs to hear this message. Real change starts with real accountability. Drop a comment telling us about a time someone gave you a second chance. Your story might inspire someone else watching. Maya carefully folded the check and put it in the Isabella's Dream Fund jar. "Okay, I'll help you. But first, we go see Isabella." Today, James agreed. Linda finally spoke, her voice thick with emotion. "Mr. Morrison, if you're serious about this, if you really want to change, then you need to understand something. Isabella wasn't just a case file. She was a real little girl who loved butterflies and wanted to be a veterinarian. She had a laugh that sounded like music, She gave the best hugs, and she died scared and in pain while your company debated paperwork. "I know," James whispered, "and I'm going to spend the rest of my life making sure that never happens again." "You better," Linda said, "because if you break my daughter's heart, if you make promises you don't keep, I will make it my mission to destroy everything you've built. Understood?" "Understood." Maya took James's hand. "Come on. Isabella's grave is at Riverside Cemetery. We can walk there from here." As they left the park together, Maya carrying her jar of lemonade money and dreams, James realized he'd spent 47 weeks grieving his wife while a child spent those same weeks honoring her friend. Maybe it was time he started honoring Sarah's memory the right way, by becoming the man she'd believed he could be. Isabella's grave sat beneath a willow tree at the edge of Riverside Cemetery. The headstone was small, simple white marble with a carved butterfly spreading its wings across the top. Fresh flowers lay at the base, yellow roses that matched the butterflies Maya always drew. "I come every Saturday before the lemonade stand," Maya said quietly, kneeling in the grass. "I tell her about the kids I'm helping, about how much money we've raised, about everything." Linda stood back, arms crossed, watching James with eyes that held 14 months of grief and fury. James knelt beside Maya, his expensive suit pants pressing into the damp earth. He stared at the dates carved into stone. Born March 7th, died November 25th. 9 years, 8 months, 18 days. That was all Isabella got. "I don't know how to do this," James admitted, his voice breaking. "Just talk to her," Maya said. "She's listening. I know she is." James closed his eyes. "Isabella, my name is James Morrison. I own the company that makes the medicine that could have saved your life. The medicine we didn't give you." His hands shook. "I don't have an excuse. I was too focused on profits and shareholders and protecting the business to remember that behind every denied application was a real person, a real child, you." Tears dripped onto the grass. "My wife Sarah tried to save you. She died on her way to override the decision that killed you. And I was too busy, too important, too selfish to answer her calls. So you died. She died. And I got to keep building my empire on top of your graves." Maya's hand found his, small, warm, alive. "I can't bring you back," James continued. "I can't undo what I did, but I promise you, Isabella, no other child will die the way you did. Not if I have anything to say about it. Your friend Maya is making sure of that. She's braver than I'll ever be." He opened his eyes, looking at the butterfly on the headstone. "Maya says butterflies mean transformation, that you transform into something more beautiful. I hope that's true. I hope wherever you are, you're not in pain anymore. I hope you're with my wife, Sarah, and I hope she told you she tried to save you. Because she did. She really did." Linda made a sound, half sob, half gasp. James turned to see tears streaming down her face. "Sarah was the woman who called me," Linda whispered. "The night before she died, she called and said she was going to approve Isabella's treatment personally. She said not to worry, that help was coming. I thanked God. I told Isabella to hold on just a little longer. And then the next day, I got a call saying Sarah Morrison had died in an accident, and the approval died with her." The pieces clicked into place. Linda had known. All this time, she'd known Sarah tried to save Isabella. "I hated you," Linda said to James, voice shaking. "I hated you for ignoring your wife, for building a system that valued money over lives, for being too important to care that my baby's best friend was dying. But Sarah, she cared, she fought, and it killed her." "I know," James said. "And I'm so sorry. To you, to Isabella, to everyone I failed. Maya stood up, pulling James to his feet. Isa forgives you. I can feel it. She was never good at staying angry. She used to say life was too short to waste on being mad. She was right, James said. They stood in silence for a moment, three people bound together by loss, and the ghost of a 9-year-old girl who'd loved butterflies. Mr. Morrison, Maya said, can we go to the hospital now? I want you to meet the kids who need help. An hour later, James walked through the pediatric oncology ward at St. Mary's Hospital, Maya holding his hand like a tour guide, leading him through hell. That's Marcus, Maya pointed to a 6-year-old boy with no hair hooked to an IV pole. He's been waiting 9 months for insurance to approve your medicine. His mum sleeps in the chair next to his bed because they can't afford gas money to go.
Home and come back? That's destiny, she continued, nodding toward a teenage girl staring out a window. She aged out of her parents' insurance. She's 18. She needs treatment but works at a fast food restaurant and can't afford it. The hospital gives her chemo for free sometimes, but not your special medicine. That costs too much. Room after room, child after child, each one a living reminder of the system James built. In the last room, a little boy named Lucas sat drawing pictures. He looked up when they entered, his smile huge, despite the oxygen tube in his nose. Maya, you came, he held up his drawing. Look, I drew butterflies like you taught me. Those are beautiful, Lucas. Maya hugged him gently. This is my friend, Mr. Morrison. His company makes the medicine you need. Lucas's eyes went wide. Really? Are you going to help me? My mum cries every night. She thinks I don't hear, but I do. She's scared I'm going to die while we wait for the insurance people to say yes.
James knelt beside the bed, looking at this 7-year-old boy who should have been playing outside, not drawing pictures in a hospital room. Yes, Lucas, I'm going to help you, I promise. Really? You promise for real? For real. Lucas threw his thin arms around James's neck. Thank you. Thank you so much. I don't want to die. I want to grow up and be a scientist and help other sick kids. James held this fragile child and felt something inside him fundamentally shift. This wasn't about corporate policy or profit margins or shareholder value. This was Lucas. This was destiny. This was Marcus and Isabella and Ethan and every child who deserved to live. You're going to be a scientist, James said firmly, and when you are, I want you to come work for me. Deal? Deal! As they left the hospital, Linda waiting by the entrance, Maya looked up at James. Do you understand now why I sell lemonade? Why this matters? Yes, James said, I understand. Good, because on Monday you have to
fix everything, and I'm going to make sure you do. James looked at this fierce, determined 10-year-old who'd lost her best friend and turned grief into action, and he realized something profound. Maya wasn't helping him transform his company. She was transforming him.
Monday morning, James called an emergency board meeting. Maya sat beside him in a chair too big for her, wearing her best dress, the purple one with butterflies. Linda stood against the wall, arms crossed, watching everything. 12 board members stared at the child sitting at their conference table like she was a bomb about to explode. Gentlemen, ladies, James began, this is Maya Patterson. She's 10 years old. She runs a lemonade stand that's raised more money for pediatric cancer patients this summer than our entire corporate giving program. And today, she's going to tell us how we're going to change everything. James, this is highly irregular, board member Patricia Chen said. We have protocols. Our protocols killed a 9-year-old girl named Isabella Rodriguez, James said flatly. Maya's best friend. So forgive me if I don't care about protocol anymore. He nodded to Maya. She stood up, pulled out a piece of paper covered in her careful handwriting, and began to read. My friend Isabella died because your medicine cost $400,000 and her family had $0. The math doesn't work. If you want to help kids, the kids have to be able to afford the help. She looked up. I'm 10 and I know that. Why don't you? Silence. Uncomfortable, heavy silence. I have questions, Maya continued. Question 1. If your own kid needed this medicine and you couldn't afford it, what would you do? No one answered. Question 2. How many kids died while you were deciding if they deserved help? Still silence. Question 3. Do you know their names? Patricia cleared her throat. Young lady, we sympathize with your loss, but business decisions require. Isabella Marie Rodriguez, Maya interrupted. That's one name, there are more. Do you want to hear them? Because I wrote them all down. Every kid who died waiting for your help last year. I got the list from my mum's hospital. There are 47 names. She pulled out another paper, started reading. Carlos Martinez, age 6. Emma Thompson, age 11. David Park, age 8. Stop, Patricia said, her voice cracking. Please stop. Maya looked at her. Does it hurt to hear their names? Yes. Good. It should hurt. They were real kids with real families and real dreams, and they died because you made them wait. Maya's voice didn't rise, didn't accuse. She simply stated facts, and somehow that was more powerful than any speech. Mr. Morrison said, we're changing the rules. I'm here to make sure you actually do it. James stood. Effective immediately, Morrison Pharmaceuticals will implement a tiered pricing structure. Wealthy patients pay full price. Middle-class families pay what insurance covers, plus a manageable copay. Poor families pay nothing. We treat first, figure out payment later. That's financial suicide, board member Robert Hayes protested. We'll lose millions. We'll make it back in volume and public goodwill, James countered. And more. Importantly, children will live. Children like Lucas, who I met Saturday. He's 7 years old, waiting for insurance approval for our drug, while his mother works 3 jobs and still can't afford it. That ends today. James, be reasonable. I'm being completely reasonable. What's unreasonable is charging $400,000 for medicine that costs us $40,000 to produce. What's unreasonable is letting children die while we protect profit margins. What's unreasonable is explaining to my own dying son why other kids can't get the treatment he's getting because their parents don't own the company. The room went still. James had never publicly acknowledged Ethan's condition to the board. My son has maybe 8 weeks left, James said quietly. Every day I watch him get weaker, and there's nothing I can do. But you know what Maya taught me? That if I can't save Ethan, I can at least save every other child I have the power to save, and I have the power to save a lot.
Of children. Maya stood on her chair so everyone could see her. My lemonade stand raised $143 this summer. Mr. Morrison gave me $1 million for Isabella's dream fund. That money will save 12 kids, 12 Isabellas who get to live. But you know what would save even more if you just made the medicine affordable in the first place? She pulled out one more paper. I did math. If you charge $10,000 instead of $400,000 and you help 40 times more kids, you make the same money. Plus, people would love you instead of hate you. Plus, kids wouldn't die. It's not hard math. Patricia Chen laughed, a surprised, genuine sound. She's right. The 10-year-old is absolutely right. I move to approve the tiered pricing structure, another board member said. Second, said Patricia. All in favor? Every hand went up. James felt something in his chest unclench. Thank you. Maya, anything else? Yes. I want you to hire Isabella's...
Mom, Mrs. Carmen Rodriguez. She knows what it's like to fight for treatment. She should help other families fight too. Done? Linda, will you reach out to Carmen about the patient advocate position? Linda nodded, wiping tears. And one more thing, Maya said. Every year on November 25th, the day Isabella died, I want this company to give free treatment to one kid who can't afford it, in Isabella's name. So everyone remembers why this matters. Isabella's legacy treatment, James said. I love it. Approved. Maya climbed down from her chair, walked to James and hugged him. You're doing good, she whispered. Isabella would be proud. 6 weeks later, Ethan went into remission. The experimental treatment worked. He would live. And because of the new compassionate use policy, so would 47 other children in the trial. 1 year later, James stood at Isabella's grave with Maya, Linda, Carmen, and Ethan, who was cancer-free and healthy. We saved 312 kids this year, Isabella, Maya said, to the butterfly headstone. Because Mr. Morrison learned what you tried to teach everyone, that people matter more than money. She placed a new drawing at the grave. 312 butterflies, each one labeled with a child's name. Each butterfly is a kid who lived because you died, Maya said softly. I wish you were here to see it, but I think maybe you can, and I think you're smiling. Ethan put his arm around Maya. Tell her thank you for teaching you to be brave, because you taught us. As they walked away, James looked back once at the small grave with its butterfly headstone. The sun caught the marble just right, and for a moment, it almost looked like the butterfly was moving, flying free, transformed. If this story moved you, please share it with someone who needs hope today. Subscribe for more true stories that remind us what really matters in life. Comment below and tell us about a time a child taught you an important lesson. Let's build a community that values people over profit, compassion over greed, and love over everything else. Thank you for watching, and remember, sometimes the smallest voices carry the most important messages. Listen to them.